So these two exponent rules, like I said before, we have already seen when we did polynomials. So this first one, I'm going to zoom in on this box, says when multiplying, you add the exponents. And this is what we used when we multiplied polynomials. So the first example under here is going to be x cubed times x squared. So the rule, like we've talked about before, is you just add your exponents. So if you remember the rule, you just do 3 plus 2. So your final answer is x to the 5th power. We've already talked about this. Here's why it works. This x cubed means that we have 3 x's being multiplied together. This x squared means that we have 2 x's being multiplied together, and we're multiplying those together. How many x's do you have total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hence why you get x to the 5th power. We've already done this. It's the same thing if we have numbers. So if we have 3 times 3 times 3, and you were told to write it with your base of 3, it would be 3 to what power? How many 3's do you have? 3. So it would be 3 cubed. If you have a number, you usually have to evaluate it. So leaving your answer as 3 cubed is not good enough. So if you don't have a calculator, you've got to figure some way to multiply this. So here's what I would do. You take these first two 3's and multiply them together. What's 3 times 3? 9. And then this is really just 9 times 3, which is 27. So your final answer would be 27. We have done the multiplying part. We have done the dividing part. When you divide, you subtract the exponents. And we did that when we factored. So underneath the second column for number 2, when dividing, you subtract the exponents. So let's say we have x to the 6th power over x to the 4th power. You decide which exponent is bigger. Which number is bigger, 6 or 4? 6. So that means that your x is going to stay on top of, and then you just subtract them. 6 minus 4, 2. So your answer would just be x squared. If you needed to, if that confuses you, you could write them out. You could put 6 x's on top and 4 x's on bottom. And just like when we talked about factoring, if it's on top, it cancels with what's on bottom. So these would cancel, these would cancel, these would cancel, and these would cancel, leaving us with x squared on top. When things cancel, what do they cancel to be? Like if you had 2 divided by 2, what's your answer? 1. So when you have an x on the top that cancels with an x on the bottom, they really cancel to be 1. So there's a secret denominator here of 1. We just don't put it. Now what happens if the exponent on bottom is bigger than the exponent on top? It's the same thing. What's bigger, 20 or 12? 20. So that means your x is going to stay on bottom, and you subtract them. 20 minus 12. 8. That means that this entire top cancels. So when things cancel, they cancel to be 1. So you would need the 1 on top of that fraction, because that x to the 8th power is the denominator. So make sure you have that example under those 2 examples underneath number 2. and those two examples underneath number 1.